Hare Krishna everyone, welcome back to Shravanam Diaries podcast. I'm your host Sulalita Devidasi and we are continuing to read Teachings of Lord Caitanya by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Page number 328, chapter 31, The Supreme Perfection. When the pleasure potency is further condensed, it is called Mahabhava. Srimati Radharani, the eternal consort of Kṛṣṇa, is the personification of that Mahabhava. In this regard, in the Ujjvala Nilamani 4.3, Rupa Goswami states that there are two competitors in loving Kṛṣṇa, Radharani and Chandravali. When they are compared, it appears that Radharani is superior, for she is Mahabhava Svarupa. The term Mahabhava Svarup, the personification of Mahabhava, is applicable to Radharani only and no one else. Mahabhava is full of the pleasure potency, and it is an exhibition of the highest love for Kṛṣṇa. Radharani is therefore known throughout the world as the most beloved of Kṛṣṇa, and her name is always associated with Kṛṣṇa as Radha Kṛṣṇa. The Brahma Samhita 5.37 also confirms that Kṛṣṇa expands himself by his pleasure potency in the spiritual world, and that these potencies are all non-different from him, the absolute truth. Although Kṛṣṇa is always enjoying the company of his pleasure potency expansions, he is all-pervading. And therefore, Brahma offers his respectful obeisances to Govinda, the cause of all causes. The cause of all causes. As Kṛṣṇa is the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, so Radharani is the highest emblem of the spiritual pleasure potency, meant for satisfying Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is unlimited, and Radharani is also unlimited in her ability to satisfy him. Kṛṣṇa is satisfied just by seeing Radharani, but Radharani expands herself in such a way that Kṛṣṇa desires to enjoy her more and more. Because Kṛṣṇa was unable to estimate the pleasure potency of Radharani, he decided to accept the role of Radharani, and that combination of Kṛṣṇa and Radharani is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ramananda Raya then began to explain how Radharani is the supreme emblem of Kṛṣṇa's pleasure potency. Radharani expands herself in different forms, known as Lalita, Vishakha, and her other confidential associates. In his Ujjvala Nilamani, Rupa Goswami explains that one of the characteristics of Srimati Radharani is that her body is an evolution of transcendental pleasure. That body is decorated with flowers and fragrant aromas and is complete with transcendental love for Kṛṣṇa. Indeed, that body is the personification of his pleasure potency. Radharani bathes her transcendental body 3 times. First, in the water of mercy. Second, in the water of youthful beauty. And third, in the water of youthful luster. After she bathes and decorates, after she bathes 3 times in that way, her body is covered with shining garments and decorated with her personal beauty, which is compared to cosmetics. Thus, her beauty constitutes the highest artistry. Her body is also decorated with the ornaments of spiritual ecstasy, trembling, shedding of tears, perspiring, choking of the voice, cessation of all bodily functions due to transcendental pleasure, standing up of the bodily hairs, changing of bodily color, and madness. The decorative transcendental pleasure potency manifests 9 symptoms. 5 of these are manifested by the expansion of Radharani's personal beauty, which is adorned with garlands of flowers. Her patient calmness is compared to a covering of cloths, which have been cleansed by camphor. Her confidential agony for Kṛṣṇa is the knot in her hair, and the mark of tilaka on her forehead is her good fortune. Radharani's sense of hearing is eternally fixed on Kṛṣṇa's name and fame. Chewing betel nuts makes one's lips reddish. Similarly, Radharani's complete attachment to Kṛṣṇa has blackened the borders of her eyes. This darkness might be compared to ointment produced by Radha's joking with Kṛṣṇa. Radha's smile is just like the taste of camphor. The garland of separation moves on her body when she lies down on the bed of pride within the room of aroma. Her breasts are covered by the blouse of anger, born of her ecstatic affection for Kṛṣṇa. Her reputation as the best of all Kṛṣṇa's girlfriends is the stringed instrument she plays. She plays a string instrument. When Kṛṣṇa stands in his youthful posture, she puts her hand on his shoulder. Although she possesses so many transcendental qualities, she is still always engaged in the service of Kṛṣṇa. Srimati Radharani is decorated with sudipta sattvika emotions, which sometimes include jubilation and sometimes pacification. All the transcendental ecstasies are manifested in the body of Srimati Radharani. Sudipta sattvika emotions are manifest when a lover is overwhelmed with certain feelings which he or she cannot check. Radharani has another emotion called kilakinchita, which is manifest in 20 different ways. These emotions are manifested partly due to one's body, partly due to one's mind, and partly due to habit. As far as the bodily emotions are concerned, they are manifested in posture and movement. As far as the emotions of the mind are concerned, they are manifested as beauty, luster, complexion, sweetness, talking, magnanimity, and patience. As far as habitual emotions are concerned, they are manifested as pastimes, enjoyment, preparing for separation, and forgetfulness. The tilaka of good fortune is on the forehead of Srimati Radharani, and she also has a locket of Prema Vaichitya. Prema Vaichitya is manifest when a lover and beloved meet and fear separation. When they meet and when they fear separation. Srimati Radharani is 15 days younger than Kṛṣṇa. She always keeps her hand on the shoulder of one of her friends, and she always talks and thinks of pastimes with Kṛṣṇa. She always offers Kṛṣṇa a kind of intoxicant by her sweet talks. This is so beautiful and so poetic, and just, oh my god, all these descriptions are just so wonderful. She always offers Kṛṣṇa a kind of intoxicant by her sweet talks, and she is always prepared to fulfill all his desires. In other words, she supplies everything needed to meet all the demands of Sri Kṛṣṇa, and she possesses unique and uncommon qualities for Kṛṣṇa's satisfaction. Haribo. A nice verse in the Govinda Lilamrita 11.122 states, quote, "Who is the breeding ground of affection for Kṛṣṇa? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika. Who is Kṛṣṇa's dearmost lovable object? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika and no one else. Sheen in the hair, moisture in the eyes, firmness in the breasts, all these qualities are present in Srimati Radhika. Therefore, only Srimati Radhika is able to fulfill all the desires of Kṛṣṇa. No one else can do so." Unquote. Satyabhama is a competitor of Srimati Radharani, but she always desires to come to the standard of Srimati Radharani. Radharani is so expert in all affairs that all the damsels of Vraja come to learn arts from her. She is so extraordinarily beautiful that even the goddess of fortune and Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, desire elevation to her standard of beauty. Arundhati, who is known as the most chaste lady in the universe, desires to learn the standard of chastity from Srimati Radharani. Since even Lord Kṛṣṇa cannot estimate Radharani's highly transcendental qualities, it is not possible for an ordinary man to estimate them. After hearing Ramananda Raya speak of the qualities of Srimati Radharani and Kṛṣṇa, Lord Chaitanya desired to hear from him about the reciprocal exchange of love between them. Ramananda Raya described Kṛṣṇa as Dhira Lalita, a word indicating a person who is very cunning and youthful, who is always expert in joking, who is without anxiety and who is always subservient to his girlfriend. Kṛṣṇa is always engaged in loving affairs with Radharani, and he takes to the bushes of Vrindavan to enjoy his lusty activities with her. Thus, he successfully carries out his lusty instincts. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is stated, quote, "By his impudent and daring talks about sex indulgence, Kṛṣṇa obliged Srimati Radharani to close her eyes, and taking advantage of this, Kṛṣṇa painted many pictures on her breasts. These pictures served as subject matter for Radharani's friends to joke about. Kṛṣṇa was always engaged in such lusty activities, and thus he made his youthful life successful. Upon hearing of these transcendental activities, Lord Caitanya said, 'My dear Ramananda, what you have explained regarding the transcendental pastimes of Sri Radha and Kṛṣṇa is perfectly correct. Yet, there is something more I would like to hear from you.' 'It is very difficult for me to express anything beyond this,' Ramananda Rai replied. And then he continued further, and we shall read about this tomorrow. These are such elevated transcendental subject matters that we're reading right now. This is the end of the book, actually, one of the last chapters. And we're talking, this book is the study guide, not study guide, but it's a summary study of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the last Kanda, Antya Lila, is really full of such descriptions which are very, very elevated, very, very transcendental, and extremely relishing. But we have gone through this entire book to come to these topics, so we're going to continue tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.